Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be making a retro video game pixel box of Zelda A Link to the Past. This was my most favourite Super Nintendo game growing up, and I thought it would be really cool to just make a creative project based on this game. Templates are available, they'll be down in the description, so download the templates, print them out and follow along. So grab your crafting gear and let's get to the crafting table. So guys, once you've printed out the templates, you'll see on them that there are actually some instructions for you to follow along. So yeah, just follow them and get them printed out. Okay guys, before we begin, I'm going to quickly go over some of the tools required to complete one of these craft projects. I use a small cutting mat. It doesn't really matter too much how big, but I prefer this small one because it's easy to spin round when you have pieces of card on it and stuff, rather than spinning the card itself. I use a few different metal rulers. I use a large one, a medium one and a smaller one. I also use a craft knife, some tweezers. Sometimes it's hard to pick up some of the pieces of card. Some glue. Doesn't really matter what glue, I just use this Bostik all-purpose clear glue. And for various other bits and bobs I use some of these double-sided tabs and even smaller double-sided sticky tabs. Okay, so now you have your templates printed out. The template on the left is the bottom and the base of the pixel cube, and the template on the right is basically all the parts that we're going to cut out that are going to go inside the cube. So I think first put that one to the side and we'll concentrate on the actual pixel cube itself. Basically what I tend to do is just cut the first template in half just to make it a bit more manageable while I'm cutting the template out. So just follow the guides, cut around the whole template, and just be sure not to cut the glue tabs off because they're quite important. That's what's going to help us give the base and the wall a rigid structure when we put it together. You don't have to be too precise when cutting the glue tabs out, just as I said, make sure you don't cut them off. So yeah, moving on to the rear back wall, just the same again, just cut it all the way around, being very careful not to cut in to where the colour is. And yeah, just you can either use a pair of scissors or a craft knife for this section. I just find it easier to use a craft knife, it's just my personal preference. To be honest, you can cut the whole thing out with scissors if you wanted, if you feel a bit safer doing that. So after you've cut everything out, what we're going to do, we're going to use the reverse side of the craft knife, and that's the blunt edge, and we're going to just score some lines around the box. So just follow what you can see on the screen and score the lines around. And what we're going to do, this is used so that when we fold the card over, as you can see, you get a nice crisp edge to your cuts and folds. Once that's done, just fold everything around and just make sure it all fits nice and snug, and then take out your glue and just dab some glue on all the glue tabs. Everything's marked out for you, so you can't really go wrong on this bit. If it doesn't say glue, don't put glue on it. Just make sure that you glue or smooth the glue right to the edge of the crease. This just gives it a better adhesion to the paper itself, and it just creates a bit of a stronger base and back wall. The end result looks a bit more professional. So now we have our base and back wall all made into nice neat boxes. We're going to take the wall and we're going to glue it to the base. So where it says glue to wall and glue to base, basically they're going to go together. So just take your glue again, and as before, take the glue to the edge. It's always best to go to the edge because that's where the weakest point of the join will be. And if you want, you don't have to do this, but because it can get messy, yeah, just put a bit of glue on there, and then take the base on the wall and Try and be as neat as you can and glue them together, and just firmly press down at the back, and there we have it. The main section of our pixel cube is done. So now we're just going to move on to the other template and cut out all the parts. And again, I like to just cut all the parts out individually first. It just makes everything, as I've said, a lot more manageable. Yeah, so just follow along in the video. If it's going a bit too fast for you, feel free to just pause the video and, you know, just make sure that you're cutting the bits out right. So, I mean, these next step, you do have to be a lot more careful with your cuts. Try and be more precise, because these are the bits that are actually on show, and you want your project to look really nice in the end, don't you guys? So just, yeah, again, be careful. And as I've said earlier, you can use a knife, a craft knife, or you can use scissors. It's entirely up to yourself. I just prefer to use a craft knife because I've got used to using that. I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me cut out every single thing on this, so I'm just going to do it a bit of a quicker way, and I'm just going to click my fingers and they'll all be done. And just like that, everything's cut out. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take some of these pieces and we're going to put some score lines and where we need to, and certain other pieces need cutting different ways as well. So set everything aside. And the first piece we're going to concentrate on is this piece. Basically, all we need to do is take our craft knife and we need to score a line down the center of these trees. And also, to be honest, if you don't have a craft knife, you can use the scissors, but be very, very careful, because scissors don't tend to be as precise. Or you can use a pin or anything else that you have that's kind of sharp on one side and blunt on the other. Or you could be, if you don't have any of that, you could just be very, very careful and just make the creases by hand. So what we're doing here, we've creased along the corner of the trees, and we're just sizing it up towards the back box, just to make sure that we've got like a nice tight fit. The next thing we're going to do is get the other tree, and we're going to put that behind the first set of trees. This is going to give us some depth in the project, and again, just score some tabs at the edge and just keep sizing it up just to make sure that, you know, it's fitting in, because everybody's printer can be slightly different. On mine here, they were slightly out, so all I did is just trimmed a bit off, and that made them fit a lot nicer. So again, yeah, just follow what you see on screen. Stick the tabs down, and basically, yeah, you're gonna get this nice little 3D effect on the back of the box, which is kind of like the trees and foliage in the scene in Zelda. So now just grab your glue, and after you've sized it up, make sure it fits. Just grab some glue tabs and kind of just gauge where you want that to sit on the back of the box. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you've got a couple of gaps between all the sections of card. And yeah, just make sure it's in nice and neat and square with the back box. So next we're moving on to where the Master Sword is placed, and this is kind of the plateau stand in the center of the scene. So we're just scoring along all the glue tabs, because they'll fold underneath, and do a score along the top of the stairs so that we can get that angle so it looks like you can walk up onto the stairs. And then moving on to the top wall section of this element, we just want to put a cut, a very slight slice in every corner around this edge, but not all the way, only up to the middle of the wall. And then we want to take our craft knife and we just want to score along that wall again, because what we're going to go and do here, we're just going to fold down all the elements of the wall, and this will give a bit of 3D-ness to that element, and it'll just make it like pop out on the in the diorama. So again, just be very careful with this bit, just take your time, bend the walls down, and as you can see in the image in the video, that, yeah, once you've done that, you'll have this nice little 3D wall top section, which will sit nicely on top of the base. So next, just take the wall top section, dab some glue on the rear glue tab, and just place it in the pixel cube. And just be quite careful on this bit, because it's quite a delicate operation to get it right. Once you've got it in place, you can take your glue again and just dab it on the other glue tabs. But again, just take your time and just set it in place ever so slowly until you've got it right. Next, we're going to do the actual Master Sword stand, so where Link pulls the Master Sword from. Just a couple of score lines on this piece just to bend it over. And next, we're going to move on to Link, and just a couple of score lines at the bottom, so we create that shape so that he actually stands up and he comes up a bit higher than the stand there, and then just glue him in place, and that is it. Okay guys, and now for the exciting bit. We're gonna take our pixel cube and we're gonna pop our Legend of Zelda Link to the Past art in there. Pop it down, and there we go. How amazing does that look? It's so cool. And actually guys, to be honest, the way I've designed these pixel cubes is so that you don't actually need to put it in one of these Perspex blocks, because not everybody can get hold of them. So this will actually just stand up without the Perspex box. So feel free to just, you know, make the project and not actually worry about paying money out for one of these blocks. So that's the end of the video guys. I really enjoyed making this Legend of Zelda pixel box. I had loads of fun making it. It was quite a challenge to get it looking as good as it does, but I had an awesome time making it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Da 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 da